Today's going to be a controversial one, and it's already made a lot of you Canon lovers incredibly angry, but I'm Olivia from Wilkinson Cameras, and today we're going to give the Canon RF 75-300mm f4-5.6 lens a proper look. It's a budget telephoto lens for Canon EOS R system cameras, and it will work on both full frame and crop sensor cameras. So if you've recently bought the Canon R100, R50, R10 or even R8 and you want something small and inexpensive with a lot of zoom, this might be for you. It's not flashy, it's not pretending to be some pro lens with the world's best glass or the best build quality, but what it is a really solid option for beginners who want more reach without spending an absolute fortune. Before we get stuck in, I just want to give you a quick reminder: if you're interested in this lens or anything I mentioned in this video, head to www.wilkinson.co.uk. You can order online or chat to one of our team members on live chat if you're just getting started or want some help with choosing a camera kit that works for you. Right, let's get stuck in. So the Canon RF 75-300mm f4-5.6 is Canon's answer to the long-running call for a more affordable telephoto zoom for their mirrorless range. It's based very closely to an old DSLR lens, the EF 75-300mm f4-5.6 Mark III lens, which came out all the way back in 1999. And yes, I know, 1999 doesn't exactly scream cutting edge optics, but Canon's clearly reworked it for the RF mount to fill a gap in their lineup. It's at this point in the video that I can hear the tech nerds screaming at me because the EF 75-300mm wasn't known for its optical quality. But hear me out, we've all got to start somewhere, and nearly every beginner photographer using Canon has used this lens when they first started out. And we have a problem with photography at the moment. There's very few cheap lens options for people getting started with their first mirrorless cameras, and there's even fewer affordable telephoto lenses for beginners. The RF 100-400mm is a great lens, but it's currently £700. This one, however, comes in at around £289, making it one of the cheapest ways to get genuine telephoto reach on a Canon R series body. If you're shooting on something like the EOS R100, R50 or R10, all APS-C cameras, you'll actually be working with an effective focal length of 120-480mm thanks to the crop factor. So if you're watching this and you are a beginner, this just means that this lens will let you see surprisingly far away. So for wildlife, sport, birds in the park, or even just distant details when traveling, this lens gives you a huge range to play with. Design-wise, it's exactly what you'd expect from a budget lens. Nothing complicated, no unnecessary features, no weather sealing, but also nothing intimidating. It's light, about 507 grams and around 146mm long when not extended. That means it balances nicely on smaller bodies like the R100, which is ideal if you want to keep a very lightweight setup. It has two rings, a zoom ring and a manual focus ring. There's one switch on the side, an AF/MF switch, and that's it. No stabilization, no control ring, no lens function buttons. It's all very straightforward. So if you're a beginner, or even if you've only ever used your phone before, this won't be an overwhelming lens at all. And despite being a very inexpensive lens, it's still a great design and it doesn't feel super cheap. In fact, if you look at the old lens, you'll see it's had a really nice makeover. Now, let's talk autofocus. This lens uses a DC motor, which is not the fastest and it's not the quietest either. It's actually comically loud by modern standards, so do bear this in mind if you require absolute silence for any reasons. If you're shooting stills, it works fine. You might not get lightning fast subject tracking, but for slow paced wildlife, zoo trips, kids running around the garden, it does the job. If you're trying to shoot fast action, it might struggle a bit depending on your camera body, but again, we're talking about a £289 lens here. It's not going to be a miracle worker. Video wise, it's okay. If you're using it for casual clips or vlogging with a bit of reach, it'll work, but don't expect SDM level smoothness or silence from the focus motors. It's really not built for that, and Canon have made no effort to pretend otherwise. I actually took this lens to Chester Zoo last week with Kaine, and we shot a mixture of wildlife, landscapes, people, you name it. We wanted to see what a real world day with this lens looks like, and honestly, it surprised me. Not in a wow, this is incredible way, but more like a okay, this was actually a lot better than I expected for under £300. If this was my first camera and my first telephoto lens, I'd be pretty happy with the setup. We put a little video of this lens on TikTok before the main review, and the comments have been hilarious. There's not a lot of love for the old EF version, but honestly, I am surprised by actually how okay the photos are. I expected a lot worse. They're perfectly good for beginners and for sharing on social media. We managed to get nice close-ups of animals, distant shots through fences, and some softer background blur at the longer end. The bokeh isn't going to win awards, but it's decent. That 7-blade circular aperture helps smooth things out a bit, especially at the 300mm, where your background gets a little more compressed. For sharpness, look, it's not pin sharp edge to edge, but it's not soft mush either. At 75mm, it's decent in the center, and at 300mm, it holds up well enough if you close down the aperture. Again, for the price, you can't really knock it. So for minimum focus distance, it's 1.5 meters at 300mm, so you can get some decent frame filling shots without needing to be right on top of your subject. That gives you around 0.25 times magnification, which isn't macro by any means, but it's enough for flowers, small animals, or close-up textures, which I actually found myself being drawn to quite a lot at Chester Zoo. It also has Canon's Super Spectra coating, which helps reduce flare and ghosting. Handy if you're shooting in bright sun or with backlighting, though a lens hood would still be helpful, and sadly, that's not included in the box. The lens hood is an ET60, which is available separately. So the lens hood stops glares and lens flare, but as a nice bonus function, they can also protect the end of your lens from getting knocked. Now, one big thing to keep in mind, there's no image stabilization in this lens, so if you're zoomed right in at 300mm, you'll need to use a faster shutter speed or shoot in good light to avoid camera shake. Alternatively, chuck it on a tripod or monopod if you're planning a long shooting day. We use the ProMaster Air Support monopod. One thing people keep asking me is why bother with this lens when the RFS 55 to 210mm exists? Good question. The 55 to 210mm is also an affordable RF telephoto for APS-C cameras, but it doesn't cover as much range as the 75 to 300mm, and it's a slower lens overall. Its maximum aperture is f7.1 at the longer end compared to 5.6 on this one, so you do get a little bit more light with the 75 to 300mm. Plus, this one works on full frame cameras as well, whereas the 55 to 210mm is strictly APS-C. If you have a crop sensor camera and want a better quality lens with better performance for video and aren't that bothered about super long distance, then yes, you probably should get the 55 to 210mm lens. So who is this lens for? Well, it's not for pros or pixel peepers by any means. It's for anyone picking up a camera for the first time who wants to go beyond the standard kit lens. It's perfect as a second lens if you already own the RFS 18 to 45mm, and it makes it a great combo with something like the EOS R100. If you have more budget to play with and want faster autofocus, vastly improved image quality, image stabilization, and don't mind taking a bigger lens out with you, then you should definitely look at the RF 100-400 f/5 to 6.8 IS USM lens. This is actually around £700, but there's a link below for today's price. If you are on a limited budget, maybe you're a student or a casual hobbyist, a parent wanting to capture your kids on sports day, or even someone who just wants to get out on walks and photograph birds or nature, this lens will do the trick. No, it won't win any awards, but it will give you reach, flexibility, and decent results, all for under £300. So to wrap it up, Canon's RF 75-300mm f4 to 5.6 isn't groundbreaking. It's not meant to be. It's just a simple, very usable budget telephoto lens, and in a time where there really aren't any budget lenses and a Starbucks costs £5, it's honestly refreshing to see Canon bring something out that doesn't cost the earth. If you're just starting out or even just want a bit of extra reach without breaking the bank, this is definitely the one to consider. Don't forget, you can check it out now at www.wilkinson.co.uk, and we're always on hand if you want help building a beginner kit that suits your needs and your budget. Let me know in the comments what you think. Have you used the old EF version, or are you planning to grab this RF one for your next adventure? Hit like if this was helpful, and subscribe if you want more real world reviews like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.